You probably believe a metropolis like New York is simply lacking enough predators to wipe out its historic rat crisis. It sounds logical, right? Bring in the natural hunters, and the problem solves itself. But the truth is, this urban environment already harbors a massive hidden army of apex killers. Right now, up to 500,000 stray cats are actively patrolling the dark streets and concrete alleyways of the Big Apple. Yet, the local rodent population hasn't dropped by a single digit. Instead, it has actually skyrocketed to a record 3 million, an unbelievable figure that equals nearly 1/3 of the city's entire human population. It turns out, our century-long war against these pests isn't failing because we lack enough biological weapons or tactical predators on the pavement. It is failing because we have completely misdiagnosed the true nature of our enemy. To understand how this happened, we have to look back at the history of urban biology. Nature in the city doesn't stay still. It changes, adapts, and sometimes it breaks its own rules. A fierce shift began right here back in 1944. That was the year the aggressive brown rat started a ruthless expedition across the city. Before that, New York was mostly home to the traditional black rat. But the brown rat was a completely different beast. It was bigger, stronger, and far more violent. Within a few decades, they completely displaced their black rivals, monopolizing every scrap of food and every square inch of territory underneath the streets. It wasn't just a change in population, it was a hostile takeover. Fast forward to 2014, and this urban evolution reached its absolute peak. That was when biologists discovered something truly shocking about these creatures. The average weight of an adult New York brown rat had hit a massive 1.6 ounces. Now, a number like 1.6 ounces might not sound like a lot on paper, but in the animal kingdom, it changes everything. Let's put that into perspective. A typical wild rat living in the forests of New Zealand averages only about 5 ounces. That means a standard New York rat is more than twice as heavy as its wild cousins. And if you compare it to a regular house mouse, which weighs a mere 1 ounce, a single New York rat is over 10 times heavier. We aren't dealing with normal pests anymore. We are dealing with literal urban monsters. And this is exactly where our common sense assumptions completely fall apart. We grow up believing that cats are born to hunt rats. It's a classic rule of nature, right? But behavioral biology tells a completely different story. In the real world, wild animals don't hunt for fun or out of a sense of duty. They operate exactly like an economic entity. Every single day, a predator has to calculate a strict mathematical equation: the energy cost of a hunt versus the risk of injury or death. Hunting a 1-ounce mouse is cheap and safe, but attacking an 6-ounce brown rat, that is a financial disaster for a stray cat. These rats are big, they are strong, and they are mean as hell. If cornered, they don't run away. They turn around and bite back with teeth that can crack bone. So what happens when a 500,000 strong army of stray cats meets an empire of giant rats? Nothing. Literally nothing. Instead of a brutal war, a bizarre peace took over the city. Our four-legged predators looked at the math, evaluated the danger, and made a highly logical survival choice. They chose a peaceful compromise to preserve their bodies. Why risk a broken jaw or a fatal infection fighting a monster when you can just eat leftover pizza from a trash can? Over time, the fiercest enemies in evolutionary history learned to look right past each other. They became indifferent neighbors sharing the exact same sidewalk. But if our plan to use nature's oldest hunters has completely failed, what actually happens when we force this broken logic on a global scale? What if city authorities double down on this broken logic and decide to force millions of predators onto the streets anyway? History shows that when we try to take shortcuts by forcing nature's hand, the entire system collapses in the worst possible way. Hard data from international organizations like the International Union for Conservation of Nature, or IUCN, alongside the Commonwealth Scientific and Industrial Research Organization, known as CSIRO, has exposed an absolutely terrifying reality. They mapped out what happens when a massive population of feral cats takes over a country, specifically when their numbers expand into a staggering range of 2.1 to 6.3 million wild predators. Do these millions of hunters go after giant, aggressive rats? Not at all. They look at the risk of fighting a vicious rodent and immediately rewrite the rules. They abandon the rats entirely and switch to a much easier menu: local, defenseless, native wildlife. Why fight a creature that bites back when the entire ecosystem is full of fragile targets? The scale of this slaughter is hard to comprehend. A single feral predator massacres an average of 740 small animals every single year. When you multiply that individual habit across the whole population, the stakes instantly explode. We are talking about a total of 5 million local creatures being systematically executed every single day across the continent. 5 million native birds, reptiles, and unique mammals wiped out every 24 hours. And the most frustrating part of this entire tragedy, this relentless daily bloodbath did not reduce the rat population by a single digit. The rats stayed perfectly safe in their holes. Meanwhile, this wave of forced predation directly caused the total, irreversible extinction of 27 rare species. Irreplaceable creatures that had survived for millions of years were completely erased from the planet because humans wanted an easy fix for a rodent problem. But the disaster gets even worse. This massive explosion of predators ended up releasing a dangerous biological time bomb, a parasite that causes toxoplasmosis. This pathogen quickly spread through the environment, directly attacking agricultural livestock and causing devastating losses during the early stages of pregnancy. Suddenly, a localized pest problem transformed into a massive national crisis, blowing away over $6 billion Australian dollars in healthcare and agricultural costs every single year. It turns out that when we try to solve a crisis by blindly throwing predators at it, we don't kill the problem. We just buy an entirely new multi-billion-dollar ecological disaster. But why does this biological failure happen so consistently? To understand that, we have to look down deep below the surface, into a realm where natural rules simply cease to exist. Back in 2014, the media network Animal Planet officially designated New York as the most appealing environment for rats on the entire planet. But this wasn't an accident of nature. It wasn't a random curse. It was the direct consequence of a flawless, man-made architectural blueprint designed perfectly for rodents. You see, when we look at a city, we only see the horizontal surface, the streets, the sidewalks, and the storefronts. But underneath the bustling pavements of Manhattan lies an entirely separate, three-dimensional fortress. Think about what actually exists beneath your feet. There is a massive interconnected labyrinth of dark tunnels, hollow cavities, and ancient infrastructure. We are talking about the sprawling subways, specifically lines E and F, slicing deep through the urban bedrock. Right next to them are miles of decaying sewage pipes, steam lines, and hollow brick channels dating back over a century. Add to that the endless, chaotic construction zones, like the massive dig along Queens Boulevard that stretches for over 6 blocks. This isn't just a series of holes. It is a massive subterranean metropolis. And inside this concrete labyrinth, the rats have found the perfect three-dimensional sanctuary. They live inside the walls. They nest above the ceilings. They travel completely unhindered through the air vents and ventilation shafts of major building complexes. Urban rats are highly intelligent. They didn't just stumble into this network, they mastered it. Over generations, they developed brilliant behavioral patterns, learning to navigate, feed, and breed entirely within this hidden underworld. They have essentially isolated their entire civilization from any threat on the surface. They don't even need to step onto the pavement to survive. This is exactly where the traditional top-down approach completely shatters. In ecology, a top-down approach relies on predators at the peak of the food chain to exert pressure downward and control the prey population. It works perfectly in an open forest or a flat meadow. But a city is not a meadow. How can a stray cat exert predatory pressure on a prey it can never physically reach? No four-legged hunter can squeeze into a cracked cast-iron sewer line. No cat can navigate the electrified third rails of the E and F lines. The concrete and steel of our own infrastructure act as an absolute shield, a bulletproof vest protecting millions of rodents from the laws of nature. We designed this fortress layout with our own hands, completely cutting off the natural world. By building a paradise that blocks out the hunters, we didn't just give the rats a place to hide. We accidentally gave them a superpower. But the breakdown of the natural order doesn't stop with hidden nests and dark tunnels. Because when a biological system grows this massive and this well-protected, it stops being a mere sanitation problem. It turns into an active, mechanical assault on the very energy that keeps the modern world running. For a long time, we looked at this entire problem through a very narrow lens. We treated the rat infestation like a simple sanitation issue, a minor urban nuisance that could be ignored or pushed aside. But when a biological system grows this massive and remains this well-protected, it stops being a mere hygiene complaint. It transforms into an active, a mechanical assault on our technical civilization. To understand how we miscalculated, we have to look at the hidden math of the population. Back in 2014, a statistician named Jonathan Auerbach decided to look past the urban legends. He analyzed thousands of calls from the city's 311 emergency hotline recorded during 2010 and 2011. Based on that raw data, he calculated that around 2 million rats were living in the city. At the time, that number felt realistic, even manageable. But then the system underwent a massive unmonitored surge. Recent field surveys conducted in 2023 revealed a completely ruthless reality. The rat population hadn't stabilized. It had exploded to a staggering 3 million. If you do the math, that means their numbers grew by a massive 50% in just a single decade. This relentless exponential growth has pushed the city's financial damages to a record $27 billion every single year. Let that number sink in. $27 billion, and this catastrophic bill isn't coming from chewed trash bags. It is driven by a unique biological variable that most people completely overlook: the physics of a rodent's body. A rat's front incisors never stop growing. To prevent these teeth from piercing their own skulls, the rodents are biologically hardwired to constantly gnaw on hard materials, to grind them down. And in a modern city, our underground infrastructure provides the ultimate grinding stone. The rats have targeted our most critical technical systems, chewing directly through the heavy polymer coatings of fiber optic lines and high-voltage power cables. This mechanical destruction has moved far beyond a theoretical threat. It is an active crisis. Consider a shocking case documented by the Texarkana Gazette back in 2019. At a major intersection along the I-30 interstate highway in Arkansas, an army of rodents managed to infiltrate the main underground wiring channels running along the median strip. They systematically sliced through the electrical insulation. Within days, they completely knocked out the entire network of streetlights across the area. The remaining lights began flickering violently, creating a dangerous, blind intersection on a massive highway and completely paralyzing local traffic security. A tiny biological reflex effectively crippled a multi-million-dollar piece of modern transit engineering. We are no longer just fighting for cleaner streets. We are fighting to keep our critical energy grid from being eaten from the inside out. But if poison traps and millions of predators have all been completely neutralized by this underworld empire, what choice do we actually have left? This brings us to a critical crossroads. If chemicals, traps, and 500,000 predators are completely useless against this underground empire, what choice do we actually have left? To find the answer, we have to throw away our old assumptions. Way back in 1944, a legendary exterminator gave a blunt, unforgettable warning in an interview with the famous reporter Joseph Mitchell. He said, if you get rats in your house, you really only have two logical choices. You can either wait for them to die of old age, or you can burn your entire house down and start all over again. That cynical joke from the last century has now been fully decoded by modern ecology. We don't need to burn the city down. But we do need to realize that every single aggressive intervention we tried, whether it was pumping toxic carbon monoxide directly into their burrows or nabbing stray animals for urban deployment, has resulted in absolute failure. It achieved nothing, and the reason for this continuous breakdown isn't a lack of effort. It is a fundamental misunderstanding of energy math. This mathematical reality has been laid bare by the extensive fieldwork of Dr. Parsons at Fordham University. Think about the basic biological formula of the enemy. An adult urban rat requires exactly 1 ounce of food and water per day to stay alive, mature, and reproduce at an exponential rate. 1 single ounce. That is the exact metric of their survival. And right now, we are providing millions of these energy packs every single night, completely free of charge. We leave open trash bags stacked on our sidewalks, turning our streets into a literal endless buffet. We are fueling the very population we claim we want to destroy. This is why we must completely shift our perspective and embrace what ecologists call a bottom-up approach. In environmental science, a bottom-up approach means you don't waste energy attacking the peak of the food pyramid. Instead, you cut off the base of the food chain. You eliminate the fundamental resource that keeps the system alive. Starvation is a much more effective weapon than teeth or claws. By locking up our refuse in secure, containerized systems, we can single-handedly choke off that critical 1 ounce of daily fuel. If we drain the energy reservoir, The 3 million strong empire will collapse under its own weight. It is the only mathematical certainty we have in this war. If you found this deep dive into urban ecology fascinating, make sure to hit that like button under the video. But it leaves us with one final sobering question. Do the residents of our modern supercities actually possess the collective discipline required to clean up their own trash? Or have we already surrendered the future to the rodents?